The first hit wasn't a baton, it was a fist on my hood, boomed so hard the Camry shook, and the roses on my passenger seat did a little panic dance. Middle of the day, I-77 outside Fairmont Sun, bright enough to make you squint. I was doing 68 in a 70 cruise control set like my daddy taught me, 2 under baby live to fight later. Blue lights bloomed in my rear view, then this patrol car cut me off like a dare. I eased to the shoulder, hands high heart, doing that old drum I wish I didn't know by name. The trooper leaned over the glass, without bending, like I was something he didn't want to touch. License and registration. Not a question. Nameplate said Pike. His partner hung back at the trunk, young restless hand parked a little too close to his radio. I asked steady as I could, "Can you tell me why I was stopped?" Trooper Pike smiled without teeth. "Signal violation, ma'am. Step out." The young one, Alvarez, later I'd learned, looked at the asphalt. I stepped out, slow, palms up. Pike twisted my wrist, pinned me to the door. "You people always got a line," he said, and I could hear my mother's voice in my head telling me not to give him one. Alvarez popped my glove box, dumped my purse on the shoulder like a yard sale nobody asked for. Cars crawled past phones out, that mix of curiosity and shame people wear when they watch something they know ain't right. Pike circled to the passenger side, and I saw its small brown bottle palmed low, kept out of his dash cam's eye. He bent into the seat. "Open container, I see it plain." My mouth went desert dry. "That wasn't in my car." He shrugged, almost kind. "They all say that." Then the cuffs came out. "Officer Pike," I said, keeping my voice where a judge keeps it measured. "Not meek before you put those on. You should know the phone you ignored has been recording since you hit my hood, and it's backing up to the cloud." He rolled his eyes. "Congrats. And I'm Judge Daria Cole, United States District Court, Eastern District." The air thinned. Alvarez stepped back like the ground moved. Pike's hand paused midair, then found a smile. "Your Honor, let's not make a meal of a snack. We can work this out." That's when the unmarked SUV slid in behind them, tinted windows, a man in a suit walking like he owned the lane. "Detective Rowan, Internal Affairs," he said, badge flash voice smooth enough to sell dish soap. "Misunderstandings happen out here. No need to escalate." He glanced at my purse, spilled open. "No reports filed, no complaints, everyone goes home." "You threatening me with convenience?" I asked. Rowan's look said I'd read the script correctly. "I'm reminding you that careers get messy. Yours, theirs." He tilted his head toward my phones. "And reputations stain easy." I pulled my second phone. With 2 fingers, he went for his holster. "I'm calling the U.S. Attorney," I said, "and I'll be requesting preservation of all post-14 records. Also that bottle, we're going to play it frame by frame." Rowan's jaw ticked. Alvarez stared at the horizon like he wanted to be part of it. A minivan rolled by, camera hanging out the window. Some kid's voice yelling, "She filmed it?" Rowan leaned in close enough for cologne. "Last offer, Judge." "You drive away, this never happened," Pike muttered. "Do the smart thing. I thought about the white roses on the seat. My niece's name is Naya, valedictorian. Smile, waiting on a gym stage in 2 hours. And I thought about a night in '95 when my daddy kept his hands at 10 and 2, while a highway cop pulled everything out of our trunk looking for a crime that didn't exist. I wanted to make the graduation. I also wanted to look my niece in the eye one day and tell her what doing the right thing costs and what it saves. "I'll see you in court," I said, and I got back in my car like my legs weren't shaking, drove to the next rest area and called a reporter. I trust Kendra Holt, the kind that prints receipts, not rumors. I told her about the bottle, the twist, the bargain in broad daylight. She listened, typing. "Give me 48 hours, she said. "No," I told her. "They'll burn it down by tomorrow." That night, an email hit my clerk's inbox from someone calling himself a tired man at a bad desk. "Lieutenant Charles Baird, Internal Affairs. 5 years of buried complaints zipped onto a flash drive. Meet me in a parking garage. Level 3, no cameras that work." I went with 2 federal marshals in plain clothes. Baird looked like a man who hadn't slept in a month. "They call it Z72, he said. "Unofficial code. It means high-value asset, not suspect asset." He rubbed his eyes. "Captain's got a memo, highway interdiction performance, tied to bonuses. More stops, more seizures. Detective Rowan keeps the numbers pretty. Data has a way of boiling the blood without raising the voice. Dr. Priya Menon at Carolina Tech ran the spreadsheets that landed on my desk, 5 years of stops on that stretch. 79% Black or Latino search rates, triple for us contraband, found barely 3% across the board. Trooper Pike, 200 plus, stops 95% drivers of color. A WhatsApp group named Mile Watch, 17 officers across 4 states, sharing targets, swapping brag photos of cash like fish on a dock. Founder at a name that burned the retired Judge Whitcomb, the same man who wrote my recommendation letter a decade ago. The night Kendra published Roadside Profits, how Post 14 turned I-77 into a cash funnel, my phone became a siren. Nurses, truckers, welders, a preacher in gold glasses. It was him. Same spot he took $420, said it was suspicious to carry cash, cam file was corrupted. One voice stuck like grit in my teeth. My name is Keisha Daniels. He made me stand on the shoulder while he counted my money, rent, groceries, then said I could get it back if I hired a lawyer. I got 2 kids, Judge. I went home and made a pot of rice and told them it was a fun dinner. She laughed, this fragile, angry laugh. Is it crazy that I thought it was my fault? No, Keisha. It's not crazy. It's how they designed it. The pushback came like a weather front. Union pressers, cable panels, old brass, and shiny suits, saying it sounded like a misunderstanding that I was weaponizing status. My chamber's phone rang with a voice that didn't bother to hide. Drop it, Judge. Naya jogs at 6 on Patterson. Blue Civic. Cute kid. My sister moved Naya to a hotel that night under an alias the clerk mispronounced twice, and I filed an emergency preservation order, an emotion that might as well have been a flare gun. You violate this, the contempt hearing will have nameplates. Here's the thing about bullies, they're loud until the room fills up. The room filled. DOJ called. Pattern and practice inquiry, open Judge Cole. Send everything. Marshals knocked at dawn with warrants for Rowan and 2 others. Pike texted a number he should never have had. I'll flip. Immunity. They'll kill me if I don't. We met in a federal building that smells like copier toner and old carpet. Under oath, he said the quiet part out loud. Captain Baird told us certain cars, certain faces more likely to carry cash. Judge Whitcomb trained us how to write paper clean. We called it phishing. They sat me at a city council hearing too, the big kind, with microphones that squeal and a crowd that comes hungry. Charts on screens. Priya's pie slices looking obscene in public light. A councilman asked Pike, why 214 stops, 96% drivers of color? Pike stared into the middle distance and said, because I knew they wouldn't fight it. The room sounded like it broke. Rowan tried dignity on for size. It didn't fit. You suggested I protect my career by ignoring a felony, I said. You threatened my family. He cleared his throat like he'd swallowed a bone. I advised discretion for all parties. You sold silence, I said, and the mics caught the shake in my breath and the steel underneath it. Indictments came faster than anyone predicted. RICO civil rights violations, obstruction. Consent decree. New cameras with third-party storage. Public dashboard for dash cam uploads. Restitution funds seeded with seized equipment. Upgrades money, which is a neat way of saying the city paid victims with victims' money. Not perfect justice, but it spent the same at Food Lion. Keisha sent me a picture holding a check and a bag of real groceries. We had chicken with skin on it, she wrote. My kids thought I was rich. 3 months later, Naya got lit up on the same mile marker. She texted me after. Auntie the officer was a black woman with a body cam the size of a brownie. She said I was going 73 and a 70, warned me to slow down, told me to have a good day. My hands stopped shaking before I pulled off. I read that message in chambers and let myself breathe just once all the way down to the floor. Look, I know somebody's going to say I played the judge card. I did. I also played the aunt card, the daughter card, the survivor of a roadside search at 14 card, the human card that says the shoulder of a highway is not supposed to be a place where your dignity gets frisked. I use 2 phones and a mouthful of no because there are folks who can't use either safely, and they ride these roads with paychecks and envelopes and kids in the back asking why the man with the lights looks mad already. You and me, we live in the middle between the badge and the bench, between the part of the story that trends and the part that hurts. Some of you will say, this was just a few bad apples. Some of you will say the whole tree's crooked. I'll tell you what I saw as a system that pays people to take from the quietest pockets and calls it interdiction. A chat thread with laughing emojis over cash photos, a retired judge bragging about loopholes he wrote with a straight face. I'm not going to pretend it's all fixed. Paper burns slow in government buildings, and power remembers the path back to its old seat. But I drive past that mile now, and I see fewer cars on the shoulder. More officers tapping their cams before they tap a window, and that matters. Not because I won, because 1,000 little cameras are winning all day every day, and because a nurse boiled rice for dinner and still picked the phone when a reporter called. You've been here, haven't you? Stopped for nothing, searched for nothing, made to feel like a suspect in your own life. Or maybe you wear a badge and you're tired of being lumped in with the fishers, tired of supervisors who want numbers, not neighbors. Talk to me. Was I right to push, or did I cross a line? Is civil forfeiture a tool or a temptation? Have you seen a stop that made you proud, or one that made you keep your camera on? Drop your story in the comments. Tell me what justice looks like on your road. And if you believe the truth travels faster when we travel together, hit like, subscribe, and send this to somebody who needs to hear it tonight.